So back in 1910, this high school physics textbook accidentally planted, well, basically a philosophical virus in the public consciousness.
Oh, right, the classic, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Exactly. I mean, it is the ultimate dorm room philosophy cliché. But the rabbit hole behind that riddle goes so much deeper than just, a falling pine tree.
Yeah, it really does.
Welcome to today's deep dive, where we are taking your sources to explore what actually exists when nobody is looking. We're going from a pretty violent 18th century literary argument all the way to physicists currently hunting for digital pixels in the cosmos.
Because, we generally expect our reality to be stubbornly independent of us, right? You build a brick wall, you turn your back, you just assume the wall is still there.
Right, obviously.
But the mechanics of observation suggest that wall might be far more reliant on you than you'd think.
Which is wild. And this whole debate really crystallized in the 1700s with the English writer Dr. Samuel Johnson.
Oh, this is such a great story.
It is. So he's walking out of church with his biographer, James Boswell, and he is just fuming over the philosopher George Berkeley.
Because Berkeley had been championing subjective idealism, like this idea that material objects only exist because a mind perceives them.
Right. And Johnson gets so frustrated that he violently kicks this massive stone, bounces off it, and yells out, "I refute it thus."
Which, ironically, is a spectacular failure of logic.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, it gave birth to what we now call the appeal to the stone fallacy. Johnson dismisses Berkeley's claim as absurd, using purely inductive reasoning, like his toe hurts, so the stone must be real.
Oh, I see. He didn't actually disprove anything.
Exactly. He provides zero deductive evidence and completely misses the actual philosophy.
Because Berkeley wasn't claiming the stone was like an illusion or a ghost. He was arguing that the physical stone, the pain in Johnson's toe, the sound of the kick, those are all just perceptions processing in the mind.
Yeah, by kicking the rock, Johnson just generated a fresh batch of mental perceptions. He played right into Berkeley's hands.
That's amazing. And that exact philosophy to be perceived is what everyone associates with the falling tree riddle.
Right. People just assume Berkeley wrote it.
But he didn't. The precise phrasing actually originated in that 1910 physics textbook by Charles Boardman and George Ransome-Twiss.
Yeah, they just used it to quiz students on the mechanical definition of observation.
And the trick to the riddle is entirely semantic, right? I mean, if you define sound as objective, measurable air pressure waves, then, yeah, the tree makes a sound. Physics operates fine without an audience.
But, and here's the catch, if you define sound as the biological experience of hearing, well, that requires an eardrum and an auditory cortex.
To translate those physical waves into an experience, so without a perceiver, there are only silent vibrations displacing the air.
Exactly. But it's one thing to say a sound needs an ear, You can't just scale that subjective requirement up to the entire universe.
Einstein famously hated that idea.
Yeah.
Like he was on a walk with physicist Abraham Pace, stopped, and just pointedly asked him, "Do you really believe that the moon only exists if you look at it?"
Yeah, Einstein's frustration was aimed squarely at the emerging Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics.
Right, like the double slit experiment.
Exactly. It shows us that particles exist in a superposition, multiple possible states at once, until they interact with a measuring device.
So the act of measurement essentially forces the wave function to collapse into a single definitive reality.
The universe seemingly just waits for an observer to render the data.
Which naturally leads to Nick Bostrom's simulation hypothesis. Not the Hollywood Matrix version, but the logical trilemma.
Right. Bostrom argues that humanity goes extinct before running realistic simulations, or advanced civilizations just don't care to simulate their ancestors, or we are currently in one.
It's like running a billion weather simulations to predict a single storm. If you are inside one of those data points, you just assume you're the real storm.
And the odds heavily favor us being the beta point. What's really obscure and fascinating in your sources is that physicists are currently searching for empirical evidence of this.
Wait, they're actually testing this?
Yes. They are looking for lattice artifacts in high-energy cosmic rays. The hypothesis is that if our universe is simulated, it must run on an underlying digital grid.
Wow. So if cosmic rays travel in preferential directions along that grid, rather than just perfectly randomly,
it would be the equivalent of spotting the pixels on a screen.
That is mind-blowing. So whether it's Johnson stubbing his toe on a rock, a silent tree in the woods, or, I don't know, cosmic rays revealing the edges of our rendering engine, the core through line is that human perception fundamentally shapes reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a strangely relevant concept for you today, especially in an era where we tie so much of our existence to digital validation. Like if you do something amazing and nobody likes the post, it echoes that exact same 1910 textbook question.
We are at our core social creatures desperate for a witness to our reality. But it raises a weird point. If reality truly requires a conscious observer to collapse into existence, if that brick wall from earlier only stands because someone is looking at it, what exactly happens to the physical room around you the moment you fall into a deep, dreamless sleep?